I got loyalty, got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I was born like this, it's born like this. Immaculate conception, I transform like this, perform like this. Without you, a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then overcome. This that people against the bed. This that I got loyalty inside my DNA.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the 2025 Season 6 Championship of the ISR AIC, and we're over in New Zealand, just east of Australia, for round number 2 of this thrilling championship, the first ever time the series has travelled across to the land of the Kiwi. As you can see today, we're racing at Manfeild Circuit Chris Amon, a circuit which has hosted World Superbikes in the past and plays host to an even bigger layout than is usually raced at this circuit for the ISR AIC's debut. Rain has been in the air though, and we are looking at a very damp surface for this thrilling race, and we can see this man did qualify on pole position last time out, but he wasn't able to convert. The man you can just see behind him, Tom McDonnell, however, was. Joining me in the comms box today though is Douglas Anderson, and Dougie, we had an exciting race in the dry. What was going to behold us in the wet?
Hi Toby, hi everyone, thanks for having me back once again. I really enjoyed my commentating last time at Dragon Trail, and yeah, today looks like a very exciting prospect for the drivers. When there's a little bit of rain in the air, you never know what's quite going to happen. The grid could get turned on its head at a moment's notice. So yeah, looking forward to today's action. So today we are at the Manfeild Circuit Chris Amon, located in the town of Fielding on the North Island of New Zealand. Both Manfeild and New Zealand as a whole makes its ISR debut today, but the circuit has plenty of motorsport pedigree, having hosted the New Zealand Grand Prix 17 times between 1992 and 2020. In 2016, the circuit was renamed to honour the late great New Zealand racer Chris Amon. Manfeild has 2 circuit layouts, and today we are racing on the longer of the 2, the full circuit, which at 2.8 miles long makes it the longest circuit in New Zealand. The track layout looks exciting, as I said, and I'm sure it will produce some excellent racing today, Toby.
It certainly will, and when the track is covered in a layer of water, that racing is going to get even more exciting. As you mentioned, this circuit plays host to a New Zealand Grand Prix every year in the Toyota FRS series. But what will behold us today? Christian Vrazilov lines up P22 and last alongside Craig McDonnell. Disappointing result for him. Callum Spencer and Douglas Anderson will be equally disappointed, only qualifying a row forward. Ryan Hardecker, debutant for Team Disconnect, lines up P18. He's alongside Philip Blum, who qualified second last time out. It's followed by an all-nemesis row thereafter, Kevin Jacobs sticking to the back of his teammate like glue, and Colin McAllister lines up P14 alongside Marcus Townend, who managed to get the last point on offer last weekend. Jonathan Carrera qualifies P12 as an improvement from Queensland. Can he get into the points today? Joshua Wood will line up in the top 10, then Ed Cantwell, who finished second and was catching this man, Tom McDonnell, in P8. One last time out, he's got a lot to do today. Olav Odvin 7th, Zach Swader will line up in P6 alongside compatriot Andrew Pavia, and then Craig Evans is directly in front, a great result considering their fortunes in NLR last weekend. Jack Tolchard P3, and then it's an all-champion front row as mentioned, where Josh Martin secures pole position ahead of Season 3 champion Toby Burns. So we have the Season 2 and the Season 3 champions lining up side by side on the grid, but most importantly here we have Jack Tolchard, Josh Martin's teammate, right behind. So he'll be wanting to make an impression early on and get into second if he can and perform those rear gunner duties for his teammate. But we have 5 red lights for the New Zealand Grand Prix. Lights out and the way we go, and there's not a lot of traction. Of course, it's been raining, the rain stopped, but there's still a lot of water, as you can see by that puddle on the right hand side. Flying into turn number 1, Bernard Martin side by side. Can't quite see who's got a better launch. Yeah, into turn 1 of Josh Martin's ahead by a mile, and like we said, Jack Tolchard's done exactly what he needed to do. He's up into P2 comfortably ahead of Bern, who's had a difficult start off the front row. We can see who's this. Is Andrew Pavia looking for an opportunity as well? I think he's actually got the jump on Craig Evans, but he's been fought back. Craig Evans down the inside once again, trying to retake that, but nothing doing. Pavia is up into third. There's a sliding Odvan in the back as we come through the first of the two major hairpins on the second. Jack Tolchard's off. Jack Tolchard is off the road, and it looks like Evans, despite quite a poor start, is going to capitalise massively here as everyone chokes up, and Evans, Dougie, is up into P2.
Evans has kept a cool head in these tricky conditions. At this point in the race, you've just got to keep the car on the track and just take your own race. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there. I think I was going to say how clean the race start had been, considering just how tricky it is out there. And I speak way too soon. There's a couple of cars off the circuit. They were doing so well. We'll try and see who has spun off the track. It's very hard to tell with the spray that's coming up. But yeah, at the very front of the grid, we've got the two sim staff cars right at the front. They're going to be in the prime positions today to try and get some good points, Toby.
Oh, speaking of, Toby Byrne is completely off the road, all locked up, all crossed up, and he goes off the circuit. This man started P2 and has had a disastrous start down to P6 after an adventure off the circuit. Jonathan Carrera has moved up into P10, but Martin leads from his compatriot Craig Evans, Jack Tolchard in third, and Sweden will now move up into fourth. That's a disastrous start from Toby Byrne. Great shout out to Ed Cantwell, by the way. He's moved up into P5, I think from P8, so great racing from him. Evans all over the back of Josh Martin, looking to the inside, nothing doing, but he's actually almost getting pushed through this corner by Jack Tolchard. So the sim staff boys really trying to re-establish this 1-2, and we did see an impressive battle amongst them in the past, if you remember, to Ibarra last season. But Tom McDonnell now on the charge. He's going to compound Toby Byrne's misery, and looks like he's going to go up the inside of the S-Benz, and job done for the race one winner. He's up into P6. Josh Wood looking around to see if he can go around the outside of Gareth Lennon. Gareth Lennon coming back up the inside. He's now actually gone up the inside of Byrne. Is he going to get the move done? It doesn't look so, but Ed Cantwell on the charge again. Looks like he's going to go all the way around the outside of Sweda as we come into the hairpin once again, Dougie.
He's on a charge once again. He's trying to split up the two leading teams at the minute. We've got the sim staff cars right in front. You have Josh Martin not getting the spray. I think that's such a key thing. He's going to have clear vision ahead of him. He just needs to get his foot down whilst all the chaos erupts around him and behind him, Toby, as we go to a replay.
So here we have a replay then of Jack Tolchard's start. We said he did everything he needed to do initially, so he did get just a better launch, didn't he, up into turn one, and there's not that much spray at this point, so luckily these drivers had a clear view coming into turn one, but that was just clinical. It was exactly what needed to be done, and he did get the job done, and it was a shame at the end of that sequence he did actually go off the road, and I think we're actually going to see that from Craig's perspective here, so we can see he was battling with Pavia, Byrne ahead, and then Pavia gets us back temporarily, but Evans holds this inside line, goes up the inside of the hairpin, and there is a slide from Tolchard, and Byrne backs out to not make contact, so there's one, and just the drive catapults him past the second as well, so just staying out of trouble played absolute dividends there for the fast starting Evans, and he was fast starting all last season. He was even fast starting in round one, but it all came undone for him, of course. So this is Callum Spencer at the back of the grid. I believe he is way towards the back. I'm not sure if he's still going. He must be. So Spencer following the ARTs, it looks like, through the S-Benz section. See what's going on here. We've got an ART off on the grass, then contact, and further contact, just a pile-up effect. Spencer caught out through someone else's incident, and it looks like this incident was with Reinhard Ecker and one of the ARTs. I can't quite see if it's our champion Anderson or if it is Razlov. It looks like it might be Anderson, who goes off on the grass and just comes back on and clips Ecker, and yes, just a very unfortunate sequence of events. We'll see this from Anderson's perspective, Dougie, and you can see, he's just avoided the checkup of the Maka and the Nemesis. He's gone onto that soaking wet grass, and there's no grip out there.
I feels a bit unlucky there, trying to avoid incidents, and yeah, just took to the grass, absolutely no grip out there whatsoever, and then very unlucky to come back onto track, as we see all of Odvan crashing with one of the Castro liveried cars. Yeah, we're seeing a bit of chaos now. We're on board with Zach Swader looking back at the chaos, I believe. You can just see Oh, yeah, he definitely gets a bit of grass there, and one of the other cars gets tagged, and yeah, just chaos erupting behind him. He's able to just sneak away from it. We're now on board with one of the Beechwood cars, Toby Byrne, and oh, he just gets a big bit of oversteer. Luckily, able to rejoin the track. He's not in the position of Anderson, who is now out of this race. He was able to get back on and try and get back into the action and try and get some more points, Toby.
Absolutely, so we can see the sun is starting to come out a little bit now. We're seeing a little bit more sunshine, and that will obviously all contribute to the drying out of the circuit. Yes, we do have cars on wet tyres going round and around, creating that dry line, but the sun's always going to help. So, Simstaff lead once again with a 1-2, Evans down in third, so Tolchard must have made the move somewhere during them replays. So, coming through the S-bend section, we can see visually it's just a lot brighter, so I can't imagine it's going to be too long. The track is wet, but it's not that wet. It's not raining, it's not contributing to adding more water to the surface. So, watching the driving of Ed Campwell, and Jack Tolchard's got a better run here than Martin. Jack Tolchard side by side for the race lead. He's going to try and make amends for Queensland, and he's going to go up into P1 temporarily. Is Martin able to do anything? Back up the inside. Yes, he is. Josh Martin back up the inside of his teammate Jack Tolchard, who has the racing line though. He's on the outside. It's still side by side between the Simstaffs, and Jack Tolchard back up the inside once again, forces his teammate to the outside line, and the rookie has done the job on the champion. What a move! This man has some serious pace. We've seen that with a pole position in Queensland. We've seen that with a P3 here today, and he has come to make a message to Josh Martin that he is not here just to be the rear gunner. As Ed Campbell reports what we're thinking, Dougie, that the track is drying up very quickly. Toby Byrne going up the inside of Zach Swader, trying to make some amends from that dreadful start.
Yeah, no pole position today, no problem for Jack Tolchard. Some incredible racing out there between the Simstaff cars, keeping it very clean, although them being at the front of the grid will help their visibility. But yeah, what a fantastic battle we have between those two, and now he's stormed off. We'll see if he can capitalise and do what he should have done last week and take his first win of the season. But yeah, as you can see, God, it nearly looks dry now. The sun is really out, and it's going to be getting to a point. Are these guys going to have to consider their tyre choice? Are they going to brave it out, or are they going to have to come in? And oh my god, we got a rejoining car there. Luckily avoiding some action. Bit of a dodgy rejoin. But clearly Ed Campbell was not happy with that. His tyres, as you can tell, his tyres are absolutely done, and he's going to be looking to come into the pits and try turn his race around.
Absolutely. Who is going to be the first gambler of this circuit? The track looks pretty dry, but more importantly, if we look towards there, you can see through that corner there, there's still some spray, so there is still some... Oh, and a slide for Swader shows the water is still apparent on some of these corners as we flick through the field. Tom McDonald's out of the Grand Prix. Tom McDonald, race 1 winner, is out. I'm not sure what happened there. I hope we get a replay, but that is huge. The net is wide open, and Martin reporting there is still a lot of puddles, so this will be one for the strategists to sink the teeth in. Obviously there is a dry line, obviously the track is looking quite dry at the moment, but there's some corners, particularly that hairpin like we just saw, Dougie, where there is a lot of water, and if you go into that corner on assumedly slick tyres, then you're going to be sliding all day long.
That's the fine balance in conditions like this. As Martin Brundle always says, you need to be on the right tyres at the right time, and teams are now just trying to figure out what that tyre may be. You can slide off the track, and we've got a couple of cars off the circuit at the moment. We've got one of the Team Disconnect cars there, and another one, I couldn't make sure what it was, but yeah, conditions are proving very tricky. These guys are being very processional at the front. You see a couple of puddles still here and there, but a lot of the track is now pretty dry. They might have to try and weave in between the puddles to try and keep their tyres cool whilst the teams figure out what their next move is going to be.
Of course, we're not at half race distance yet, so it's also a gamble. And off the track goes Jack Tolchard. Jack Tolchard has made a mistake, and he is going to lose his position back to his teammate Josh Martin around the outside. And Craig Evans is right there looking to pick up some scraps. He looks to the inside line. Is there anything available? Nothing on this occasion, and that's the experience of a champion versus a rookie. Just looking like he may be pushing a bit too hard on this drying track. He's still on wet tyres. Everybody's still on wet tyres, so looking like he's pushing a bit too hard and causing a bit of overheating there, and that has caused him to go off the circuit. And again, he will have to do the work once again behind his teammate of Josh Martin. 2 tenths behind, following his teammate through. Looking, can he do anything? Who's going to be the first to box? Because surely with these gentlemen, whoever's in first has the priority. Contact! Big contact between Tolchard and Martin, and he spun him around! There's contact! The golden rule has been broken, and Martin has been taken out by his teammate Jack Tolchard. Absolute drama, Dougie.
We can't believe what we've just seen. I was just saying that the two sim staff cars needed to work together. They were in the prime position at the front of the field, and one of them has very clearly decided that they're not going to race together as a team. Well, I don't know what to make about that. The stewards will have to have a think about that. I'd hate to be a part of the team in the debrief room after this race, but I'd love to be on the fly on the wall just to hear what these guys have had to say. We've got a number of cars, I think, coming into the pits. I'm guessing this will be the crucial changeover period. I think Callum Spencer was the first driver to pit in onto the dry tyres. We'll see if he's able to make any gains, whilst Toby Byrne, for the while, stays out.
I think Toby Byrne might be the only driver who has not pitted. That could be absolutely devastating for his race, as we see an absolute medley of cars fly out of the pits as all the pit teams have finished doing battle, and Carrera, West JSR, have had the win in terms of the fastest pit stop. He's got his man out into second place. Great stuff. And the other Beechwood Team RN now up into third. We see an absolute mad scrabble coming into the S-Benz. Tolchard making an early move on Lennon coming out of pit lane, and look at this crazy medley, that this absolute desperate, quick and rapid change to the dry tyre has come about, and it's caused some absolute chaos. And the only hope for Byrne is that there was a little bit of holding up and stuff in the pit lane of that much of a busy one, as we see Josh Wood getting a good exit, looking to go side by side with Craig Evans. The incident involving Josh Martin and Jack Tolchard is under investigation. What a dramatic day for sim staff that could turn out to be if there's a penalty to boot as well. Evans holds on to the position ahead of Wood, and there's an absolute train of dry tyres absolutely hunting down Toby Byrne ahead, but it looks like Carrera out of nowhere could be our net race leader as Townend goes a little bit wide, loses another position. Jack Tolchard back up into third place. Gareth Lennon now looking like he's going to compound the misery of Townend, looking to go down the inside, side by side action then with a Beechwood down into the next corner where we just saw the accident between Jack Tolchard and Josh Martin up the inside. Can he do it contact free? That's how you meant to do it, sim staff. And the other two NLR cars going side by side as well, as Craig Evans looks to move back up ahead of Zach Swader. Hasn't been able to pull that off. I think he's on the outside. I think Swader holding on for the time being and forces Evans a long way around, so nothing doing on this occasion. But here comes the moment of truth. Jonathan Carrera around the final corner, surely going to come and take the race lead, and it looks like he's got quite the comfortable margin to Jack Tolchard, Dougie.
Yeah, I think he's timed this perfectly. He's come out of nowhere to actually no, Toby Byrne has somehow kept the lead. I'm guessing it's through all of the drama on that outlap. They're all so bunched up together, and I guess there's maybe still a little bit of water on the track, and Toby Byrne, as it turns out, maybe staying out that extra lap, waiting for people to sort themselves out in the pit lane. He's been able to take a lead all of this race, so he'll be seeing just how much pace the guys behind him will have on those medium tyres. So here we go, here's Tom McDonald's incident after such a strong drive in round one. I think he gets hit on the back by no, he just slides straight on. I think that must be a suspension failure or a brake failure. Nah, he's apologising to the team. Oh, that's such a shame. He was so good last time out. He's going to come away from this race with absolutely nothing. And here we go with Ed Cantwell. I think he just he slid off the track. I think that was pretty much all that incident came to. I don't know if he was able to rejoin or not. We're unsure. But here we go. It's Turkey 2010 all over again. The top team coming together, and Jack literally just, I don't want to race with you anymore. Goodbye. Sending him around. And now, Jack Tolchard doesn't even have the lead of the race that he took Josh Martin out to even attain. So this is just absolute chaos between the sim staff cars that we see from Josh Martin's view, just pitched around, classic American put maneuver, and he's in the grass and he's out of this Grand Prix, Toby.
What a disastrous day for sim staff. That is absolute drama for them boys, and they have a habit of racing in a 1-2 position, the sim staff, and it always ends in tears. I think last time out, I don't think Vrazilov and Martin crashed, so that's a score up for Vrazilov in terms of that lineup, as Zach Swade are looking to go completely off the circuit apparently, tried to go around the outside of Marcus Townend, and he's actually just gone completely wide, and that has allowed his teammate of Craig Evans to go down the inside and try retake the lead in this NLR battle down the inside where the two SimStaff cars came together, of course, and it's a very tight corner coming out of that chicane there, and Evans is up into P6 as Swader makes an error, a little bit of rust potentially showing, and here we are, Dougie, a penalty is coming through. Who's this for? It's got to be the man of the hour, and it's a shocker. It's a 10 place grid penalty to Jack Tolchard. That is a huge penalty because it had huge ramifications, Dougie, and SimStaff will be absolutely leaving this race. The moment they finish the line, they'll be packing up and they'll be heading off to Austria for the next round, because this has been a weekend to forget.
Jack Tolchard, his bread and butter has been qualifying. He's been so good in these first two rounds of the season. So to get a grid drop is just the absolute worst thing that could have happened for him. Or maybe the worst thing that could have happened to him is taking out his teammate, but he's already gone and done that. So yeah, that's just a huge blow to the SimStaff cars. The most he can do now is forget about next week, forget about next race, as we see a big bit of overstay there for Christopher Pettersson in the Nemesis Racing team car. Yeah, Jack Tolchard, he needs to try and improve his race condition. He's got a podium, which won't make the team happy at all, but if he can at least try and push for a victory, that he can at least take a points cushion going into the next round and the qualifying penalty.
Absolutely. Just, you cannot put into words how bad of a day that is for SimStaff, and I'm sure Josh Martin will be fuming. He's not had the greatest of seasons last season. He took a couple podiums here and there, but it's not to his standard, and it really looks like SimStaff could have been an early contender here today, and it's all gone. So they had a very good result out, I think P3 and potentially P5 in Queensland, so they had a very good result there, and it's just not come to fruition across the border at New Zealand. But we're watching the man Christopher Pettersson trying to hunt down the other McDonald, the remaining McDonald, Craig McDonald ahead, and Nemesis Racing Team, one of the few teams not yet to score points, and they will want to get points on the board early this season, because that was the story of Season 5 for them. They were just trailing around at the back for most of the season. I think it came a little bit alive for Pettersson towards the end of the season, getting a podium at Road America, but he could have won that race. It just did not come to fruition for him, so he'll be wanting to try correct some of those woes early on, but not happening in Queensland, and so far not really looking like it's happening here. Kevin Jacobs returning obviously to that team where he won the championship, and to be fair to him, he has been right behind Christopher Pettersson all weekend, so he's been right behind his more experienced teammate, pretty much doing what would be expected of him whilst he learns this new machine. But we can see Townend is starting to close in on Gareth Lennon, and Gareth Lennon had a pretty shocking result last time out. And just to speak of Gareth Lennon, he had a 5-place grid penalty, if you remember, Dougie, for this round. He actually qualified in P11, which means on the road he would have qualified P6, so he's had the pace and he's overcome that deficit of 5 positions and actually gained a couple more as well, so I think it's a net gain of about 7 positions, so a very good day for Gareth Lennon, and he's really kept calm and kept out of the way when it's come to the chaos, and it's exactly the result he needs after a disastrous Season 5.
Yeah, Gareth Lennon, he's had a pretty good day. He's kept it clean, kept it on the circuit, while so many people have had so much drama today. But yeah, he's now being hunted down by Marcus Townend, and we know these Beechwood cars are very fast. Toby Byrne is just about holding on to the lead. I see his gaps come down by maybe around a second since the pit stops. But yeah, Toby Byrne looking like he has a very good chance to take a win today. And Marcus Townend looking to try and push further into the top 5 to get some more points on the board for the team. Meanwhile, we've got the Nemesis cars at the back. They've just had a pretty quiet race. They've not really hit the pace, but they've kept it on track and clean, which you definitely can't say for some of the other teams out there today, Toby.
That's very true, and that's been the most important weapon. It kind of reminds me, I believe it was, is it Singapore 2016 or 2017, where it was somehow raining in Singapore, and it was one of the most crazy races we've seen in the modern era, and that's kind of what today's been. It's been a race of just staying on the track, which is a lot easier said than done, especially in these machines, which have a lot, less downforce than the Formula 1 cars we raced last season. They're a lot more brute, a lot more torquey, as you can even hear in the engines. They just sound harder to drive, and we've seen on several on boards with like Peterson, etc., who've just been sliding this car through corners. So great to have from everyone today. Evans is closing on this battle a little bit too now as well. Another honourable mention in terms of positions gained today for Christian Vrazilov, who qualified, if you remember, Doug, he qualified P22 and last, and he's climbed up into the points. So ART won't be happy in terms of the net position they are in for the championship. It's only 2 points last weekend. It's looking like only, again, 2 points this weekend, but I think that's all Christian Vrazilov could have done in terms of today, and he just needs to sort out his qualifying. Arguably, I think, based on Anderson's performance today, it might be just an issue of 1 lap pace in the ART machine at the moment, and in the AIC, qualifying is so important, which is why it is such an absolute brutal penalty for Jack Tolchard. I mean, obviously deserved given what happened, but he has qualified so well this season, and that, like you say, has been his secret weapon. But with a 10th place grid drop, that's pretty big. I think he has to qualify at least in the top 5 to be in with a conversation for points next time out in Austria. Austria promotes pretty good racing at the Red Bull Ring though, so there's a chance to progress up the field, but he really needs to refine that racecraft before we head there.
Yeah, the Red Bull Ring is, if you were to pick a circuit where you were going to take a grid penalty, I think the Red Bull Ring would be maybe one you'd lean towards. Plenty of overtaking opportunities, but Jack Tolchard is going to rue the fact that today he maybe crossed the team a little bit too much, crossed his teammate a little bit too much, and yeah, hopefully he'll come back and have reflected on what's gone down today. As we look towards the front of the grid, Jonathan Carrero, I think his tyres might just be giving up the chase. He had been closing on Toby Byrne, but I just saw the last few laps, the gap has gone back up to roughly what it was when the pit stop phases happened. So I'm guessing this is where the medium tyres are losing a little bit of pace to the hard compound tyres that Toby Byrne has on. But yeah, Marcus Townend that we're riding on board with, he still knocking on the door of Gareth Lennon. One of the closer battles we have on track at the minute. The other one, right behind Marcus Townend, is Craig Evans of the NLR cars. The NLR is kind of showing how it's done today with clean racing between the two of them. They'll come away with this race with a good few points, which I'm sure they'll be very, very happy about. We've got Gareth, he's now right off the back of Jack Tolchard. I don't know, Jack Tolchard's kind of dropped back from the JSP in front, I'm not too sure, but it's kind of bottling up these 4 cars. We got 4 drivers, 4 different teams, maybe battling out on the last lap for a podium here, Toby.
Yeah, I think I just saw a glimpse of Tolchard going very wide in the last corner, so a little bit of a mistake, and he's now under pressure for his podium, and now, like you say, the room gets a little bit, big lock-up from Craig Evans behind, so these guys have been on these tyres for about half race distance now, and it looks like they are starting to wear a little bit, as Evans demonstrates that with a big old lock-up coming into that hairpin section, cambered of course, so he'll have to ride out the remaining lap with a vibrating tyre, like a 50 pence piece, again, to borrow a quote quote from the famous Martin Brundle. So Gareth Lennon holding on at this time. He really had an opportunity to turn one, he just wasn't able to do it. But again, last lap dives on a season where you've not had any points and not what you want to be doing if you're Gareth Lennon, so sensibly avoids the collision and will try again. But this is the last lap. He's not having many opportunities remaining his way. We can see the little train that's starting to form, so the mid-pack very, very close together, as you can see. All the cars in the background, you can see Sweder and Wood not too far behind, but this man is a mile away. When everyone else zigged, he zagged. Toby Byrne pulls off a strategy masterclass to win the New Zealand Grand Prix and take his third victory in the ISR AIC. Fantastic result for Beechwood Team RN, and Gareth Lennon secures driver of the day with that impressive recovery from his penalty that we was mentioning based on the AI ratings for this weekend. And Craig McDonald really pressuring Christian Vraslov all the way to the line, but nothing doing. Pedersen fell off a little bit, and it was actually McDonald who went on the charge, but McDonald and Vraslov both securing the final point of the weekend. And this man, like we said, pulled it off. He kept his head cool when everyone else lost theirs. It was a win on strategy today, and Byrne recovers from a disaster to turn it into a masterclass. What a result, Dougie.
Yeah, fantastic race result for Toby Byrne. A lot of chaos out there today, and he just took it all in his stride to come home and take the maximum amount of points. Jonathan Carrero did a really good job reading the strategy. He capitalized a lot. You've then got Jack Tolchard. Going to be an interesting debrief, I think, to put it lightly, at SimStaff today. You're going to go Gareth Lennon, Marcus Townend, Toby Byrne's teammate, picking up the point for the fastest lap. So a very good day for the Beechwood team. We then got the likes of Kevin Jacobs, Phil Blum, Jonathan Carrero's teammate Callum Spencer down in P14. And then we got all the guys who DNF'd across today, including Josh Martin of the SimStaff team. You've got champion Douglas Anderson. He was able to get a couple of points last time out, but today nothing doing, getting caught up in that massive incident early on in the race. So this is the driver's standings. Jack Tolchard still leading the way despite his chaotic day today, but Toby Byrne is closing. He's now on the same points as Tom McDonald. You then got Ed Cantwell, Jonathan Carrero, Gareth Lennon, Olaf Odvin, Marcus Townend, Craig McDonald, and Joshua Wood rounding out those point scorers.
Absolutely, yeah, so this is the first half of the grid, of course, and two podiums have saved Jack Tolchard a bit here today. He leads on 30 points, as you mentioned, and we have quite a few drivers tied on points, and that continues into the second page. Spencer and Evans tied on points, Zach Sweder and Josh Martin, there's only a point between them, and then the two ARTs are tied on points, and then there's a four-way tie for no points at the end. Blum having a disaster in Queensland, being unlucky here today. The Nemesis cars just don't seem to have the pace at the moment, and of course Pavia got caught up in that early accident with Olav Odvin, who was, I believe it was all just a big check-up once Sweder had gone wide and off the circuit. So some guys waiting to score points, but it feels like the gap's a little bit less than it was last season. I think a lot more people had failed to score points by this point. So we have Colin McAllister and Reinhard Ecker just rounding off the end there as well, the debutant struggling, and McAllister just really wasn't on the pace of his teammate today, and I don't know if he actually finished the race, so another unlucky one. But today was a race of chaos, a race of attrition, and it was an ISR AIC Classic. Here's what it does to your team's championship. Macca Motorsport lead the way with 36 points, but they're tied with Beechwood Team RN, and then there's only a point to SimStaff behind. So SimStaff, you can really see the implications of losing a car today, especially battling for the victory. West JSR followed just behind, and it's Team Disconnect just ahead of Northern Lights. CGM up on the back of Gareth Lennon's result today, tie with NAR Nissan, and then it's JR Wood 1 on 10 points, or JR1 Daytona now, and ART DHL on 4 points. And Nemesis Racing Team, we said they wanted to correct the Season 5 woes, Dougie, but so far they're the only team you left to score.
Yeah, it's a disappointing start. Only 2 rounds in, but yeah, I think they'll be a little bit scorned that they've not been able to improve on their form of last season. And yeah, the ART team down in 10th as well, the defending constructors champions. A slow start to them, but yeah, Macca Motorsport, Beechwood, and SimStaff all right up at the pointy end of the grid, all having some pretty good races today. SimStaff aside, but they were still able to get some good points on the board, and it is very, very competitive at that end of the grid, Toby.
It very much is. Today was a dramatic chapter in Season 6. The tensions will be very high at SimStaff. Will they be able to sort it out amongst themselves before Red Bull Ring? We'll catch you next time at that very circuit for round number 3. Thank you to Dougie for joining me today. Thank you for you guys for watching at home as well. And until next time, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.